Hello, everybody. Welcome to Optical Obsessed Live. Today is April 20th, special holiday for, I guess, ganja smokers out there. Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? My name is Perry Brill, and I'm going to be your host tonight and every night for the next couple of years as I go on this journey to educate people on optical, give my view of things, and really support independent optometry, independent opticianry. All right, let's see who's in the house tonight. Hey, everybody, we got Chi. What's up, Craig? Craig in Florida. Donna, Harsh, Herbert, Catherine, two Catherines, Christina, Mary. What's up, Quay? Dad's here. Hi, Ray. And Tommy and Tori. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 3 of Optical Obsessed Live. We're going to just play a little preview here and then get right into it. Okay, I am back again. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for all the people that keep coming through every single week. If this is your first time here to Optical Obsessed Live, let me know. So give me a little emoji raise if this is your first time here. This is our 3rd show. We're going to have this every single week at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Welcome, Christina, Catherine. So, the reason I have this talk show and peer mentorship is we all attended a lot of webinars. Hey, Shauna, how are you? Hey, Tori. We all attended a lot of webinars during COVID. And the one thing that I saw, and I'm so guilty of it, is we attend these webinars and they're sales pitches. And it's kind of a turnoff because the company gets their email list. They start emailing you, start calling you. And it's just frustrating. It's like, no, I don't want to buy your product. I'm just coming here for education. And so I wanted this to be really just an educational platform where we can all contribute and talk with each other. And I've been in the industry for about 10 years. Dad's an optometrist, and I wanted to share my knowledge that I learned and distribute it to everyone. So let's get into our first topic here. A few housekeeping things. If you guys would invite all your colleagues and friends, I'd really appreciate it. I know a lot of people don't want to work after work, but I hope this is not work for you. Hopefully this is your passion and this is your hobby like mine. And also, I want this to be a collaborative event, and that means I welcome everybody to come here on video. And if you want to come on video to talk to me, this is all about peer-to-peer mentorship. If you're a beginner, this is like the perfect place for you to come. If you're a beginner, I'll break it down like you're 5 years old and we can just talk about things. Or if you're an expert, come challenge me as well. I'm happy to take a little challenge as well. And if you want to come on, then the easiest way is just you're going to, let's see if I can figure it out. We have a moderator. It's the Optical Obsessed Live moderator. And she's in the audience here. She's going to be interacting with you. And if you want to come on stage, I just want you to ask a question and to just say something like, I want to come on. And we'll get you on stage. So I just typed a little example for you there if you want to come on stage. And if multiple people want to come on stage at the same time, we can all kind of have a nice round circle. All right. So the first topic of tonight is really progressive lenses. Well, it's actually the whole topic. And we're going to start with a little teaser video to get us started here so we have a good understanding of what's going on. So, all right. So let's start here. I have a big frustration with what we call big optical. It's kind of been coined in the industry. Audio is quiet for you, Raymond. Can everybody hear me okay? You may want to turn up your volume if your audio is too quiet because I can't control it. My audio, okay. All right, thank you, everybody. Dad, you may need hearing aids. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Your hearing's good. Jokes are allowed in this environment here. So I have a big frustration with progressive lenses. By raising hands, price lists. Aren't you guys frustrated by how many price lists there are in the industry? And the price lists are generally like 20 pages long. Has anybody experienced that? The mic is pretty close. So I have, I'm really on a goal here and a drive in life to make pricing simpler for opticals. So Luzerne is the largest. Yeah, like why do we have like big price lists? It makes no sense to me. You only need like 3 or 4 lenses in your practice. So if you're thinking about lenses and simplifying your life, you don't need to choose from 20 different lenses. You really need maybe 1, 3, 4 different lenses. It's really that simple. I'm going to turn my phone off here so I don't annoy you guys. Okay. So let's begin with talking about how to create your own progressive lens and what's going on in my head about progressives. Progressive lens brands. That's the next thing we're going to discuss here and teach you how to discuss them with patients. Oh wait, you're not going to discuss brands with patients because your optical should be about your brand, not anyone else's. I know how people feel about brands. We all have obsessions with certain brands. I'm a shoe addict, I'm a car junkie, I love Tesla, and I love Allen Edmonds dress shoes. Same thing for lenses. I know all of you have your favorite progressive lenses. Brand, brand, brand. However, your patients want to buy your brand. They came to your practice, your optical, because they wanted to visit you. And they have a trust in the affinity and the excitement and the technology of your brand that you provide. It's too hard to differentiate brands today. All the technology is very similar. The lenses are good, they work well, people see fantastic on the computer, great in the distance, great in the intermediate, great in reading, great in mobile. I don't know many people that walk around and say, hey, I got these branded progressive lenses. These are awesome. No, they probably say, I went to insert your optical name here, and I love my glasses. These frames are so stylish. I see really well, and the optician was really cool. You should go visit them. While I've never been on one of those conversations, that's how I'm assuming it goes. So when you're talking about brands, forget about them. Sell what your optical provides. That is customer service, that is cool frames, and selling yourself. The moment we start educating patients on certain brands of progressive lenses, I'm talking these big brands, well guess what? They start hopping online, researching things, and they're gonna figure out the next optical that provides that same lens and then start comparing price. We all know there's lots and lots of different price lists out there as far as lenses go, and we can mark up lenses high, we can mark them up low, but in the end, we're really buying a customer service experience. I'm gonna recommend you throw away all that junk that those lens vendors give you and the mats and all this stuff. Stuff is so confusing. My patients don't know any of that technical jargon is. Just throw it away. If you're worried now, what do I do? I can't talk about these brands. The brands allowed me to have a conversation with patients. Well, guess what? This is your time to formulate your conversation, have it prepared in your head. You'll always be able to regurgitate a well thought out conversation. If you really look at a lens, inside of it, it's clear. It's a piece of plastic, and it has inherent qualities of certain monomers and optics and all these really technical aspects. And it's not really born with a name. So you need to remember that. A brand is just some marketing material. They aren't born with them. They're not assigned a name. They're just packaged like that. And in the end, people just see well out of them. And it needs to be about your brand. What I really love about taking brand out of the lens conversation is what happens if you switch lens brands in your optical. This always happens. You're going smooth with some lens company and all of a sudden there's some kind of hiccups in the road, maybe there's price increases, maybe the customer service at your laboratory just really drops. Well, this is your time to get rid of that headache. You're not gonna have to have that conversation, well, we were fitting ZYB lens and now we're fitting CYX. That conversation's not a fun one to have because patients start to lose trust thinking,
I'm confused. They were fitting this really great branded lens, and now they're saying this lens is even better? I mean, come on. Forget the conversation about branded lenses. You'll never have to justify why you're switching to a new lens company. This is your brand. Embrace it. Have confidence in it. And you're gonna feel good that it's attached to your name. If you enjoy this video, please go ahead and comment below. I appreciate it. Start a discussion. And thanks again for watching Optical Awesomeness.
Okay, so that is really my mindset about lenses, and obviously I don't have like a man bun. That was actually filmed a few years ago, but I think it's still really applicable. Had a lot of hair at that time, still have a lot of hair. So what are some of the key takeaways from that? I really want to know. I see Zach. Hey, Zach, how are you? Thanks for joining us here at Shorewood Opticians. If anybody's just joining, we're going to be sharing videos throughout this platform. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Optical. And if you want to come on stage, just type that in the chat and we'll get you on stage and we'll have kind of a one-on-one conversation. It could even be up to 5 of us, 6 of us here on stage. So when I'm looking at progressive lenses, okay, we got some comments coming in. I'm going to check these out. Okay, so Sam has a good question. And I'm going to put this one on stage and answer that live. So Sam's question is, what do you call your lens brand? Do you have a good, better, best option? I do not have a good, better, best option. I have one lens. And this may go against unpopular opinion, but whether they order the best lens for $350 or the cheapest lens for $150, the patient gets the same thing. And the reason they get the same thing is today the lens prices have really, like they literally have dropped. You can get a progressive lens for 60 bucks, 100 bucks, even with AR today. And there's just no differentiation in prices. Why would I give a patient a crappier lens when it's the same price as the best lens? So that's kind of how I think about it. And just even good, better, and best today is too many options. And how do we even explain to a patient that, you know, this has a more narrow corridor and this one's better on computer? We can't. And I think a lot of, you know, what we see and read is phony because everything comes from anecdotal experience. When Verilux came out with their X progressive or the S, or Shamir has a new intelligence, you know, who is the one to decide if the lens is good? It's our patients. And if you don't try that lens on a ton of patients, you'll never know what works. And many times we'll fit a lens and like all of a sudden it just doesn't work for a patient and we don't know why. And then we just put them in a different branded design from a different company. Let's say we go from Shamir to Zeiss and it all of a sudden works. So there's almost like no exact formula to fitting progressive. You just have to put your best card forward, put them in the best and move on. And we're actually going to be going over lab pricing, how to move from a good, better, best model just to a flat fee, easy model. So hopefully that answers some of that, and we'll dig more into that. But if you have questions, again, you can come on stage here with me. And Zach, I'd be curious to hear why you think that all progressives are. I don't think all progressives are good at all things. So I'll give you an example. I'll play ball on that. I really love the Seiko surmount for plus patients. It is most lenses are a barrel design, and a hourglass design. So, and I'll actually have some information about that I'll share as well later. So you have this really narrow middle zone, and it's kind of narrow at the reading as well. Now, the Seiko surmount is a barrel design, so you get a really broad computer zone. And it also creates this like super slim aspheric plus lens. You can put a +6 in this puppy, and it comes out just so much thinner than like a Shamir or Essilor lens. And going back to kind of what you're saying, what do you call your lens brand? I don't call it anything. I think it's kind of silly to call it the Premier 3000. Like, patients don't care about the lens brand name. And I just say, look, we're going to put you in a progressive lens that helps you with, you know, you're a makeup artist and you're going to be able to look at all the colors and see your customers' faces. Like, they just don't really care. So hopefully that helps. If you were to get a custom orthotic, like your podiatrist is not giving you the brand name of your custom orthotic. You just don't care. You're like, hey, it fit my shoe. I have flat feet. I'm happy that it fits. So make your life simple there. All right. I'm going to just pin this on the screen just because I think it's really good from Caitlin. Caitlin said, I agree with everything there. Patients are coming for your brand and not Lens Brand X. So the problem is when you promote brand in your office of lenses, like you're allowing people just to go down the street and say, hey, I want the Zeiss individual, whatever their flavor, Zeiss's flavor of that lens is that year, that they can do a price hike up on. You know, Zeiss is an optics company. They make scopes, they make a lot of different things, but no one really knows them for lenses. Canon, Nikon, like people don't know those people for lenses. Only if you're like a camera person, you really know those things. So the best thing to do is just like mention it, tell patients how they'll benefit. And I have some examples that we'll go through of, you know, how to pitch these things. So Zach's kind of point is, thanks Zach for clarifying. The conversation revolves around how they use their eyes day to day. And then I pick the lens based on that. So I definitely agree that you have to have some intent on when you're choosing lenses. So like I said at the very beginning, you need to have a bucket of maybe 3 lenses in your portfolio that appeal to certain patients. You have your heavy readers, and they like to read in bed murder mysteries. And then you have your people that they drive cars a lot. And then we have sports enthusiasts. So different lenses are going to work for different things. And something that you should consider is, you know, just because you read marketing literature from Shamir about this is the greatest lens for driving ever, that may not be true. And you just have to test it yourself. So when people get worried about trying a new lens, I say you just have to try it. Like, don't even tell a patient, hey, we got this new lens, we want to test it out on you. You got to be confident in your prescribing habits and fit it. If they come back for a remake, listen, observe, take notes, and share that with your other team members in your office, because we all have to learn from each other on how to fit lenses. Craig wants to know, how about the lightest weight possible with the best optics? Not poly, because that is what is least expensive. So yeah, I mean, Craig's thing is like I'm just going to post that. That is very similar to what I would say is those are the keywords that your patient wants to hear. I want the lightest possible weight lens with the best optics. And you shake your head, they shake their head, and then you write up the order, fit your measurements, and move on. If you have lens mats, literally, like the visual aids just don't do much for me. You know, once someone's worn a progressive once, they probably don't need to go through the whole spiel again if they're wearing it successfully. A new patient, yeah, who's getting a first-time wearer at 44 years old with a 1 1/4 ad, sure. You know, show them a little design, but try not to like put too much emphasis into explaining it too much. All right, we're going to move into the next video here. And this one's just going to go into, first of all, let's talk about hand position. It's going to be a short video of how you measure. When you're measuring progressive lenses, it can feel kind of awkward with your arm. Where do you place it? How do you balance it? So there's a few ways that you can do it. There is the elbow rest method, where you just plant your elbow on the desk and you pivot and use that, and you have some kind of dexterity with your finger to mark where you place it. You also have the arm support method, where you kind of make like a tabletop for your arm and hold it, and that's another one to get a really good steadiness. And you can, of course, freehand it as well. That's going to take someone who's a little more steady. So if you're a heavy coffee drinker and you're a little jittery, this is probably not the best method. Those are really the 3 methods that you'll use to measure with, and try them all and pick what you like. And sometimes it's a combination based on the type of patient you're working with. Okay, so this is a very hard thing for, yeah, hey Donna, how are you? Thanks for being here. These sessions are taped, and I haven't distributed the first 2 episodes because we're kind of new to this, getting into the whole editing flow. So we'll make sure to really get that out stuff to you on YouTube. One thing I struggle with is, and I've trained a lot of opticians, where I was from Kansas, as a non-licensed state. Teaching how to measure progressives is hard, and it takes repetition. And there's a lot of loss of dollars that go down the garbage due to bad measurements in this industry. So you've heard of remake rates, right? Your lab knows who has good opticians and who has bad opticians, and who has good optometrists and bad optometrists when it comes to refraction, because it's all due to your remake rates. So a key indicator of a really good optical is your lab. Your lab knows who's the best optician and doctor combos are, because their remake rates are super low. They're like, 1%, 2%. Once you're hitting 7-8% remake rates, if you're remaking 7 out of 100 pairs of glasses in your office, like you're throwing dollars down the drain. So for me, the elbow method and pointing is the easiest for me, or just setting it down. It's nice to have a telescopic chair as well. But did any of those points resonate with you on, measuring and, how to brace your arm? I know this is kind of optical 101, but I think a lot of people do need to see that. Okay, so we got some good comments on here, and I agree, Drew. Drew says Zeiss is a very good brand, and people do know lenses. And maybe that's true, and that's why we have this platform to debate these things. And it is true that some labs are getting eaten up and swallowed by the bigger entities out there, and remake rates are going way up. And that's kind of when you need to start switching labs, is when you start seeing that happen. So let's get into some other key things about how to reduce remakes. And really the cream of the crop is going to be the pricing session that we're going to have, because my goal today and every day through the next 52 weeks that we're going to be doing this is to lower your lab pricing, better performance of opticians so that they can do their job, get it right on the first try, and create returning patients. Okay. Here, you want to make sure you have all your supplies. You have your AR marking pen. I prefer red just because it's easier to see on people, especially dark colored eyes. That red over the black people shows up pretty well. PD stick and just a cleaning cloth is a good habit to have. So what you want to make sure you do is you want to be on equal plane with the patient. So that means we're both eye to eye, chin to chin, and no one's taller than one another. And I'll explain to you later why we don't want to be separate heights. So the first step is just make sure you're within a good arm's reach. If the patient is too far out, you can just ask them to scoot in. The patient and I are nice distance here. It might feel a little awkward that you're so close and we're in this really private space, but you'll just get used to it, and eventually this should just take you about 30 seconds to a minute to do your progressive lens measurement. So as I'm looking at the patient, what I'm going to tell them to do is I'm going to tell them just to look right between my eyes here. So would you like to look here for me, please? So if you're looking at the patient here, the right lens is actually sitting higher on her face. So the frame is actually crooked. So you actually want to pre-adjust the frame before you fit progressive lenses, else the measurements are going to be crooked, or the left and the right eye will not be the same measurement. So would you like to take those off? Now usually I would take this frame back to the frame warmer or salt pan, whatever you use. I would adjust it and put it back on the patient. Okay, great. So we're gonna pretend it's straight here. Next, I'm going to tell the patient to look again right here between my eyes, or you can just tell them to look at the tip of your nose. The patient's still looking right at my nose, and I'm just gonna simply make one dot, and you'll gently graze the lens, another dot, and that's it. Now, can you please take those off for me? Now, what you'll see here on the frame is you'll see two small marks here. Now, what I like to do is I actually like to draw a T through those. Now we have a defined target, and I'm gonna do that on the other lens as well. The second step is I'm gonna measure this initial measurement, and I'm getting a 29 for a segment height. And I'm gonna go to the other lens, and I'm also getting a 29. So I know I did a pretty good job because I have the same heights. If you're off with a 0.5 millimeter, or a millimeter between eyes, that is okay because we are not symmetrical people. So the next thing is going to ask the patient to put them back on. Going to double check. You can notice she kind of has a chin down posture right now. We want to, there we go, perfect. All right, if you want to look right at my nose here, and what I'm doing is I'm looking to make sure this is on the center of her pupil. Some people measure at the bottom of the pupil, but I measure at the center. Now we have a little wiggle room here too, so this looks really, really good. And what I like to do is I like to almost shimmy back and forth so I can kind of see how these T's line up. All right, and take those off for me, please. Now you want to double check the segment height, so we're going to measure twice. I did not change anything, but it's just a good practice. So they're both 29s. As you know, when you measure progressive lenses, you always have to have a minimum of 10 millimeters above your seg height. So here you can see above the seg, we actually have 12 millimeters from the top of the frame to the segment height. So we have plenty of room for distance, intermediate, and reading there. And ample room for the whole progressive lens measurement. And so that's it. It's super easy. That's the basic workflow for measuring a progressive lens. Now this is best case scenario. Your patient is 100% compliant, it's easy. And next we're gonna go through more detailed, complicated steps really to hone in on the precise measurement. Okay, best question yet comes from Zach. And nope, was it Craig? I don't know. Craig. Craig says, when do you split segs? So if you don't know what a split seg means, it means someone's eyes, one sits higher than the other on their face. And as you know, all of us have one eye that sits higher. Most of our eyes are within a millimeter of each other from experience. But if you do have a patient and their eyes are like extremely at different heights on their head, I'll go with Zach's recommendation and say, if let's say a seg is 20 and you're measuring a 21.5 for the other eye, like that's a pretty good indication that you need to check that seg again. Are maybe the glasses are crooked? That's one thing that could be happening. So do not be afraid to order a 20 and a 23. Like it's completely normal to do that. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen probably a few times a year. And something that you'll want to notate on your lab order in special instructions. I hate special instructions. That's a topic for another day because special instructions actually is the #1 thing that slows your lab down when ordering lenses, because a human has to physically review your order before it gets into the production line. But back to split segs is, let's say I got a 20 and a 22, put it in special instructions. Hey, split seg, it's correct. So your lab knows you didn't just fudge the numbers. Drew says you split based on the patient's pupil center. If it's lower, you go with the lower measurement. And a lot of times, let's say you had a 20 and, a 21, like super close, you're not really sure, then you can just split it at a 20.5 and call it good. I think it's also important, just don't overthink this sometimes. There's a lot of forgiveness with progressive lens measurements today. So if you're off a millimeter, it's not going to change things. We have a natural slippage anyways with our facial oils and stuff. If you have nose pads, you easily have a millimeter to probably 3 millimeters you can play with pads. Acetate, a little harder because you can't manipulate pads. So I want to call out Zach. Zach's on fire. You should be running the show, Zach. He mentioned that double checking segs is really important. So you notice in this presentation, I take the patient takes the glasses off, put them on, mark them up, take them off, put them on. Sometimes you have to do this 3 or 4 times because every time they're putting their glasses on, it's just creating a different seg heights. And also pay attention. Sometimes I'll go right here, kind of in the video. She's wearing them low. And then, she's wearing them a little higher. And so you kind of have to figure out that natural position. And it's okay to ask a patient, hey, is this where you naturally wear them? And they're like, oh, no. And they kind of, do one of these fumbly-dumbly things. Also, you'll see like slouching. Here I am. I'm slouching in my chair because we all have really bad posture today. So it's really important to capture them in their natural position. You can just tell them to even walk around the room a bit. Hey, how does that feel? But they don't know it. You're actually trying to get them to sit down in the chair again. and so you can catch them in their natural position. Just a really easy tip. And then you also really have to pay attention to height. If you are short, you can't be looking up at the patient as you're measuring. And same thing as if you're tall. You need to be level with the patient to really get a good measurement. Okay. Gonna hop into next thing here. All right. We're gonna spend the most of the time on paying too much for lab bills. Is there any topics here before I continue? Any progressive lens stuff you guys want to talk about in terms of measuring? I saw someone here has a Visi Office. Who was that? Let's see here in the audience. Visi Office, Opticam, Shamir, Spark Me Up, whatever they call it. Great tools. I think they have a place in this industry. But for me, where's my PD stick? I like a PD stick because I think it's quick. I think it's accurate. And personally, I don't believe in the wrap measurements, the vertex distance, and the compensation of lenses. It's like, how much better can it be? How much better can the lenses really be with all those measurements? And I have one. I've used an Opticam many, many times, and it was a hassle. It's like, why am I putting this jig on? I know a lot of them don't have jigs today. So proceed with caution. Test it out yourself. And it may provide a high factor level to your office, and people may like it. And I think that is definitely one component. But I haven't drank the Kool-Aid. But I'm just one opinion, so I want you to consider that. And I'm going to try and read some comments here. Okay, so Sam has a good question. Let's bring this question up on stage. Sam, when you dispense, do you measure the PAL markings on lenses? I'm not sure if I understand the question, but what I would do, I'll just kind of go through it here. I just have a sunglass. Mark, it's hard to do it here. Mark, I measure the lenses down. This is the aviator, so this is a whole special scenario. We don't want to measure nasally here. We want to measure at the very bottom, the deepest part of the B measurement. So I measure. So measure, put it back on the patient, see if it lines up, take it off. If you need to mark it again, go ahead and do that. Measure again. Sometimes it's best just to take an alcohol wipe. If you don't have, you got to have alcohol wipes inside your drawers at your glasses fitting station so you can easily clean it off when you begin. Wipe it off, do it again, see what measurement you got. If you're getting a 19 now and a 20 the first time, it's okay. Split the difference. If you're indecisive, just make a decision. Don't drive yourself insane about it. Okay. Let's see here. Hey, Zach, I'm curious. Why are hand measurements more consistent in your experience? What have you found from using Opticam, Zeiss equipment, and other things? I'll let you respond to that, and I'm going to hit a few other questions. All right, Candy, let's explain the aviator thing. Okay, let's look at my frame here. I'm going to get really close for you. Okay, so here I am, and really anywhere on the bottom of this round P3 frame is all about the same B measurement. So let's measure my frame together. I'm going to go from the top of the frame. Okay. I don't know how well this will focus, but it's about a 45. Okay. I'm measuring a 45 here. Pretty much anywhere on the base of this bottom of the lens is going to be a 45. And that's why I just don't really have to worry about where I'm sliding my PD stick to measure that B measurement. Now let's take this aviator, for instance. It's got a really deep lens. Who wants to guess? Let's have some fun. How deep is this lens, guys? B measurement. Let's go. How deep is the B measurement? 70. Okay. Anybody? 54. This is like Powerball, but power optical. 60, 49. Okay. Let's take a look. This B measurement is, gosh, Can't see anything. 56. Drew, I think you've measured a few pairs of aviators in your lifetime. You got the closest. Congratulations. All right. So the problem with this is if we look at this, this point right here, get it focused, is where we need to measure that B mark at when we're measuring that progressive lens, because it's very pointed. If we measure over here, it's going to be really short. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm measuring from the top to the very bottom. You can't see it. I'm just mimicking it. And let's pretend I got remember going to that very pointed part of the B. I'm getting a 32. Okay. Now, again, let's go ahead and measure this to a nasal part. And I'm getting a pretend. Now I'm getting a 27. So that's a 5 millimeter difference because you didn't pay attention to measure from the top to the very bottom part, deepest part of the B measurement is what you need to do on these aviators. So why Panto only? Okay, I think I need to catch up in the chat here. So I'm going to bring Zach's thing on, and he was talking about, and then we'll come back to Navendi here. Thanks for being here, Navendi. Sorry we couldn't catch up at Expo. All right, short answer about Zach and why he doesn't like some of these digital measuring devices is head, tilt, and turn. So turn, tilt. If you don't get everything lined up perfect, you can have serious PD issues. Hand measurements take 3 seconds, are marked on the lens so you can see how they move their head from natural to unnatural positions. That's what I found too. Like literally a slight thing like that and you're off by 2 millimeters. And it's just hard to gauge that when you're looking through a tablet, you're holding a tablet up, looking at the patient at the same time. And I never liked it. I think it's a good reference point. So it's nice to actually have that measurement sometimes. Compare that to your hand one and, do that 20 times and to see how it works for you. So do your own experiments. Okay, now we're going to talk about, Navin, you want to know why, I'm trying to find the comment here, something about Panto. Moderator, maybe, there's it. Why Panto only? I didn't see that, so I'm going to continue here. All right, let's move on to the next thing. And we're going to go one pricing video, and now we're going to do a little exercise together. While I'm about to play this, tell me what you think a premium progressive lens, what is a fair price that you experience for premium progressive lens with AR? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Premium PAL with AR. This means freeform, super hydrophobic, super oleophobic. What's the cost? Not saying the best price. I'm not saying the cheapest. I just want to know what is a fair price that you think an optical should pay. No, sorry, wholesale, guys, not retail. I hope we're not paying $850 wholesale for a lens. All right, we got 100, we got 65. Come on, there's no wrong price, really. If you're paying $350 and you think that's fair, just say it. Like, we got to be honest with ourselves here about what a fair progressive lens price is. 120. Come on, Esler, Hoya, Zeiss people. Come on. There's got to be high prices in here. I know there is. I see the price list all day long. Okay. This is a package deal. PAL, freeform, top tier technology, whatever they're advertising in 2020 magazine. Okay, $270. That's what I want to hear. There's people in this audience right now paying $270 for a lens who just don't know it. And we're together as a group with everybody in the audience. We're going to share why that's just a miserable price. You're getting raked over the coals, and we're going to help you get better lab pricing while maintaining the good quality. Harsh wants to know, how about monocular PD versus binocular? For single vision patients, I'll take binocular for most people. If I just look at the patient and I see one eye is a little cocked out, I'll take a monocular. I'm so guilty of taking the PD after out of the autorefractor for single vision patients because my dad's autorefractor is just kick ass. It's on point every time. For progressive, monocular. Doesn't matter. Got to be monocular. So, okay. Melanie says, I'm going to put this one on the screen here because I think it's really important. Thank you for sharing, Melody. I really appreciate the bravery of you coming in and saying these high prices. So California Central Valley Verilex X Design with a anti-reflective coating poly. Our cost is at least $265. How are you guys going to make any money buying progressive at $265? I mean, if you're buying it at $265, you have to sell it to the patient for probably $600 to $700 minimum. Seriously, that's a hard thing to choke. I would rather be selling multiple pairs of glasses than raking patients over the coals on lenses. And this is not your fault, Melanie. This is not your problem. Like, this is why we're having these educational sessions, so you know right from wrong, who's telling the truth in this industry, who's your friend and who's your foe. Because the people who say they're independent labs and for you may not be for you. Okay, so let's have a video about pricing.
Hi, I'm Perry Brill, and I'm going to talk to you about, are you paying too much for your lab bills, okay? So I have 3 lab bills here. You recognize these? Yes, they're antiquated. Everything should be digital today. But you can have the same lens that could cost $300. This one's $200, and this one's $100, and they could all potentially be the same lens but priced 3 different prices. Now that's not very fair, is it? You have a freeform fancy digital lens 3000 with AR and photochromic and high index. You have all sorts of pricing. So how do you know you're getting the best lab pricing? Well, you need to go shop the market. Are you getting laboratory pricing through your buying group? Does your buying group have your best interest for you? Is your buying group owned by some other big conglomerate company? So you need to go out there and occasionally, maybe once a year, figure out if you're getting the best lab pricing. Just call them up and ask them what that is. You might consider getting private label branded lenses. Just because it has a name does not mean it's better. Lenses are not born with a name. So remember, you can get 3 different prices for 3 different lenses, and that's not a good thing. Does price of the lens actually have to do with quality? I don't think so. So my recommendation to you, if you think the most expensive lens is always the best, I would take your doctor or head optician or anyone who's a presbyope and fit them in 3 different progressive lenses. I would do maybe 2 branded at 2 different price points and 1 private label, you know, the cheapest possible lens, but high quality still. Put them all into the same frame and don't even tell the person you're doing this or what lenses they're getting, and see which one they actually like. Let them test drive their lenses, and that would be a great study for you to realize that price does not always have to do with the quality of lenses. When you're doing this special lens study in your office, you need to order all 3 pairs of progressive lenses, all from the same lab, with the same measurements, same PD, same seg heights, same materials, everything the same. That way you know that they come in at the same speed and you can't measure it on any other, factors. And when you're done, I really would like you to comment below and tell me what did you find out. And perhaps your lab rep would be willing to work with you on this to help pay for them, because it'd be fun. It'd be really fun if hundreds of offices all did this, and we can really decide, is it marketing materials that we're judging lenses on? Is it fancy names? Is it prices? Is it speed? Is it the rep? Do we love the rep and we're just trying to support them? Is it the donuts the reps bring in, or the candy, or the little Jimmy John sandwiches that are like 6 inches or 4, and I don't know why they bring those. Investigate your lab pricing, do it every single year, and you'll make more money in your office.
Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to talk about lab pricing. I've prepared a nice document here. So let's hop into this. I'm going to share a Chrome tab. Lab pricing. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my screen here? I'm going to hop over Demio. One second. All right. You know what? This is an open platform, guys. And as you notice, I just want to be clear. I don't have any advertising in here because, obviously I need to make a career out of things, but I'm really here to support the profession. My content development and me helping you is more important than the 10 cents I'm going to make off having a sponsor here. I have many sponsors that would pay thousands of dollars for me to advertise here, but that's not the purpose. Drew, it's okay that you shared it. Feel free to, my friend. I am not bothered. If we are talking about certain things and products that you recommend you're having success with, this is an open platform for you to contribute your information. Okay. So I'm on this lab pricing doc. Can you guys see this? Can you give me a verbal confirmation that you can see my screen? Oh, I can see it. Perfect. Okay. All right. I screenshotted some things. So this is a buying group. How many of you guys use a buying or alliance group to get discounts on lenses? Give me a yeehaw if you do. Okay, Harsh, you're using a buying or alliance group. You don't need to say who it is. I don't care. Come on, guys. Who else is using buying or alliance groups to get discounts on lenses? David, no. David, why no? Ron, yes. Navindi, yes. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you my perspective on these. Number one, these are some pretty big names here. I'm going to make this bigger so we can all see it. Okay. How's that? That's much better. Big names, Omega Optical, Seiko. A lot of these people have probably been bought out. Wallman's been bought out by Essilor. So let's just look at this right style. How can an alliance group, buying group, just give 15% off a bill? Well, the way alliance group and buying groups work is, let's just define this. I'm going to show you here. So let's consider Wallman, for instance. They're giving a 15% discount. So put this in another color for you. I don't know about you guys. I really like doing these Google Doc exercises. It's kind of fun for me. Okay, get this out of bold. All right, so Wallman is giving 15% off of lab bills. Okay. And I've used some really good Wellman labs. Like, I've been to the Wellman labs. Those things are some state-of-the-art labs. Nothing against Wellman. Now they sold to Essilor, so they're dead meat to me. All right, so now here's what really happens. Enter a few times down on this. So Wellman gives 15% off. Actually, we're gonna call this buying group A is allowed to discount their product by 17%. Okay. Now what happens is Wallman, or buying group A, is not going to give you the 17%. Buying group A only passes on you 15% of the discount of the lab bill. So buying group A maintains 2% of every lens ordered through your office. This means if you order, let's say a lens is $100 wholesale, buying group gets $2 for every lens that you sell in your office. Now, how fair is that? Just for making a relationship and not doing anything else? So the only person that's winning in this situation is the buying group is making money, Wellman's making money, Essilor's making money. Everybody's making money off of you. So these discounts just don't come from anywhere. The discounts have to come from price markups. The lenses have to be marked up in order to provide these discounts. So these labs are not stupid. They're dealing in millions and millions and millions of dollars. I don't even know what. So that's how that works. There's some like super smart lab people in here, maybe Drew or Zach or Craig. What a lab doing? What's a small lab? How many $1 million? Medium lab, maybe 12 million. It's run by accountants. Exactly. You'd be surprised. There's CPAs that literally are the CEOs of labs, and I know one. Okay. Just Drew, throw a number out. If a lab's doing 400, I don't want to know your revenue, but a lab doing 500 jobs a year, is it million, 3 million? What are they doing in revenue? Don't know. Okay. All right. So that's how that works. Can I get a verbal confirmation? Thumbs up. Like, hey, Perry, I understand how lab alliance group pricing works. Yes. No. If anybody want to come on stage, you can talk to me. Come on video. You just got to be on desktop. If you guys got the announcement, if you want to come on stage to hang out with me, you got to be on desktop computer. I figured out that little nuance last week. Okay, next up, so you guys understand how that works. We're going to go through Alliance Group. Same thing. Expert Optics, 20%, 7%. Oh, guys, look at this. How the heck can this group offer 15% off on Wallman? And this group can offer 7% off on Wallman. That makes no sense. So you're pretty much having to shop the market via Alliance and Buying Group to get the best pricing. I don't like doing that. I like having transparency and fairness. That's why people like buying Teslas, because you go on their website, you order the e-commerce. It's super easy. Price is the price. All right. For a long time, when I was working at my dad's practice, we used a Chinese lab and we imported the lenses. We loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Now you have to be at a certain volume to make this work because all those lenses are being shipped from overseas. And you have to be willing to take risk. And you have to have good opticians that know how to fit lenses because I don't know Mandarin. Should have studied it though. Okay, so this is a Chinese price list. And again, IoT. Does anybody recognize the name IoT? Okay, Zach wants to come on. I'd love you to come on. Here he comes, Duck. You should be coming on here in a minute, Zach. Should notify you. Yeah, David said it right. Cut out the middleman, negotiate with the lab. In terms of reps, if there's any lab reps on here, I'm cool with lab reps. If they're doing their job and educating, they deserve the commission because somebody has to do the education. Hey, Zach, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being super active tonight. I love it. I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah, you can mute me at any point if I'm talking too much.
Oh, no, dude. We love it. Who here is getting value from Zach? Like, I love it. Where are you located?
I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? Okay, cool. And how long have you you're an optician?
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
I've been doing this about 7-ish years now. And I've owned my own practice for about 1 year and 4 months.
Okay, awesome. Do they allow opticians? Do you have an optometrist working for you? Do they allow that? Are you in your state?
No, so I can't employ any doctors, but I do have an ophthalmology office right across the hall from me.
Okay, cool. And awesome. And how did you get into optical? Let's just hear your 20-second background. Did you just get a job when you're 15 and that was it?
Here, I'll pop the camera on since they said that I can.
Yeah, you can.
Let me
More than
see
welcome.
if
I prefer everybody's on camera. It's nice to see faces.
Yeah,
Yeah, it should be at the bottom.
oh, there it goes. All right.
This is a good example of a peer-to-peer mentorship. So I love this. So how did you get into optical?
I fell into it. So I was selling shoes in college to pay the bills, and my manager got recruited to Lens Crafters. And basically he was like, why don't you come drop off an application? If you hate the new manager that comes in, you can come work with me. Thank you for the compliment on my frames.
Yeah, those are some sick. What are you wearing?
They're Orgreens. I'm sure if my Orgreen
Is it pink or like salmon? I can't tell.
No, they're like neon orange.
Oh, whoa.
It's hard to tell in this light.
Yeah, I'm picking it up a bit.
Anyways, so I dropped off the application and the hiring manager basically said, here's a job, take it or leave it. So I took it and I did 2 years with Lens Crafters and then got recruited to a private doctor's office. Did that for 4 years and was their office manager, and then got my opportunity to own my own, and it's hard to pass that up. So
right. How did you, just for everybody here, did you finance it yourself? Did you take out a loan?
For my own optical?
Yeah.
I did all private financing. So I convinced the old owners to basically do a short-term loan for me. So they got to make a little bit more money basically on market rate. And then I just paid them back out of the revenue.
Awesome. So everybody, if you're looking for creative ways, whether optometrists or opticians, the money is flowing.
Yes.
For anybody that wants to start a business. So, yeah.
That worked out really well.
So, yeah. So what topics do you kind of want to debate on here in terms of, what we've been going through here? Let's try to keep it on lens pricing if we can and alliance buying and stuff.
I mean, we can talk about that all day. I always shop around for the best rate. But you also have to balance that with a lab that's good. You can't just like go for bare bottom pricing and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Because not all labs are created the same. I would rather spend $10 more on a lens and get a much better quality and more consistent quality than save the $10 and all of a sudden, it's got swirl marks or whatever in it. That seems silly.
Right. I am completely with you there. Like I've went for rock bottom pricing, and then it's like, man, the job's taking 10 days. I'm like, I wish I would have just paid the extra $15 so I could get it in 5 days.
Exactly. And I edge an office, so turn time is super important.
Getting the uncut to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you with me on this? That the labs act like, oh, it takes 10 days to get a job out the door. It's like, no, that lens is probably done in 24 hours. But what's really happening is all these frames are sitting on a conveyor belt and the lab's discombobulated. Therefore, that uncut's not getting out the door. And they should have prioritized the uncut.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to work with labs that essentially do that my uncut order comes in and it's out. No AR is same day. AR is usually so if I order it like Monday morning, I'll have it Wednesday morning. So, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Certain things, obviously.
What state is your lab in? You don't have to say what lab it is, but what state?
My primary lab is in Iowa.
Okay, so just a few states up. And this is something to consider. With overnight shipping today or even 2-day shipping, well, shipping's gone up everywhere, so there's no way around that. Just have to deal with that situation. But you can order lenses anywhere in the country. It doesn't matter because you're going to get it at the same time.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, I mean, they're, I think, just outside of like next day ground shipping, but I still get my lenses next day if they ship it.
Okay. So we have a question. Let's answer this together, Zach. What is a normal lab remake policy? I'll let you go first. What should we expect on remakes, if any?
So I'm one of those few opticians that will pay the idiot tax. So if I really screw something up, and it's not my lab's fault at all, nothing, I will sometimes just take the hit because I'll feel guilty. But, 1 to 2 remakes, if one remake happens, RX check, something happened with the seg height, whatever, things happen, I'm okay with the lab covering that. If you're getting to 2, 3, 4 remakes, you need to be looking in the mirror probably more than at your lab. That's my opinion.
And I think what Zach meant by the idiot tax is he's blaming it on himself that he fat fingered the seg height, or he selected the transition to gray and he wanted brown. Like that's just
something stupid. Tax.
Yeah.
It's not the lab's fault that I'm an idiot, so I pay the tax.
Yeah. And I do want to mention that the remakes are factored into lens pricing. They're not actually free. There's a cost to a remake to the lab. There's no forgiveness policy. It's not like your insurance companies for driving really good for 5 years. They don't, if you get in a fender bender, we don't have that in lab. There is a price. So when someone says it's unlimited remakes, that may be true, but there is a price to that.
Yes, you pay more per lens for that if you have unlimited remakes. And if you have a really, really good or really low remake rate, maybe talk to your lab about having no remakes. See what that does to your pricing. If you're only, if you're at a 1% or less, see what they'll do. You might be surprised.
Yeah, and that I was actually going to bring that up. If everybody's here pro, is reach out to your lab actually tomorrow. Talk to your rep, your account manager there. Ask them, let me get my percent remake rate. And if it's low, 1-2%, you may say, hey, you know what? I'm willing to have no remakes because we're so freaking low. Why don't you see if we can drop our lab price 10%, 15%, whatever the dollar amount is.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question. Thanks, moderator. You're doing a great job. Appreciate it. All right. For people who use private labs, how do you distinguish between tiers of Progressive for vision insurance? You have no vision insurance, right?
I don't take vision insurance. No.
Yeah. So you don't got to mess around with that. So I don't know. Are you a private label type guy, IoT, Optitech? Or are you more branded lens?
No, almost exclusively IoT. And I do a little bit of Zeiss /Synchrony, just depending on again, what the person needs and what their budget is and stuff like that. So
Zeiss Synchrony actually is a good lens. It's their house brand lens, correct? Zeiss.
Yeah,
there's like
Synchrony is dirt cheap too. Just being honest, for people who don't know that, and you want a decent progressive that most people adapt to, Synchrony is not bad.
I fit a lot of Synchronies. So in Kansas, tip for everybody, there's a lot of states are opt out, meaning you can cut your own lenses in your own state for a lot of insurance plans. I think there's 14 or 15 states, and I can help you find out if you're on one of those insurance plans or one of those states. And Zeiss Synchrony is what we would fit because we could get it very affordably and use it on the vision plans. So we're like, because it had to be within the formulary. So agree with Synchrony. You got a fan out there. So
yay, someone likes me. That's good.
Harsh is in Chicago. Well, I appreciate it, Zach. I'm gonna put you back in the audience, but come back. Yeah. Really appreciate your knowledge here. It's nice.
No worries. Appreciate it.
Bye. All right, let's continue here back to our pricing thing. Start sharing. Go back to our tab. Okay, so we have lenses from China. Back to Zach's point, this AR with the lens is $54. Now, again, it's from China. There's a tax to that because you have to ship it, all that stuff, customs. Here's a lab I believe in New York, and it's called Rebel Optics. They're fairly new. They went with a flat fee model. I'm going to see if I can zoom in a bit here. Okay, so CR39. Remember, China was at 54. Some of you are probably paying $150, $250 for lenses. There's CR39 with AR for $100. Transitions, $135. Something interesting that this lab has done is what we find a lot in the industry is the difference between pricing and lenses. We don't necessarily have to have these increases. So this company, Rebel, decided to put 120 for poly, 120 for Trivex, 120 for 160. So why sell the patient poly when it's the same exact price for all of them? This is a lab that understands optics and wants to provide the best. And they're willing to eat it at their cost because it's incremental. You can see at 167, they're only going up by $15 from 120 to 135. And 174 for progressive 174 is 165. So, and guys, this is what a price list should look like. One page. So I think a price list should be 1 to 4 pages. If it's more than that, you're dealing with the wrong lab. Of course, you have your policies and stuff like that. So I'm going to go something else that goes into transparency. I'm going to switch tabs here. Okay. So this is a test environment that I wanted to share with you. So we're going to order a pair of lenses together. Big enough for everybody? Yeah, looks good. Okay. So I'm going to have you guys help me build a lens. So I'm going to call this Bugs Bunny. And frame to come. Let's see if there's an Oakley in here. Oakley. Frames. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to pick a random frame. Okay, we're going to pick the Bobby. How's that, Aviator, guys? That's super nice, right? Now let me pick an easier frame. That's going to be too difficult for me to guess a seg on. There we go. Okay, so that we're going to switch this to acetate. Let's find it. Oh man, my mouse is going crazy. Plastic. It's at the very top. Couldn't even find it. Okay. All right. We're going to put in an A measurement of, let's say, 54, 53, sure. B measurement, let's say it's 35. Bridge, 17. ED, 55. I'm just making these numbers up. I'm going to select the lens shape. I think it was similar to something like this. We'll get into how to use a ordering portal in the future, how to use it properly. There's a reason that you have these lens shapes. It's actually to get the right C size. The smaller the lens, generally, the thinner it's going to come out when you're edging. Especially for plus lenses, it's really important that we make the smallest lens possible. And then we're also going to talk about If you want to get the thinnest lens possible, you'll see trace data. You can actually upload trace data from your tracer to these lab portals, and that really gets you the thinnest lens possible. And we'll demo that, how to connect it. You can buy a tracer for 5-10 grand. There's so many used ones on eBay as well, way cheaper. Progressive clear plastic. Let's just, yeah, we'll keep it simple. We're going to select a progressive. These are all like house brands. Sure, whatever this Freedom lens is, I don't know. Okay, let's make this a minus 350, minus 1. Axis 177, 250, perfect. Okay. Let me show you some intelligence that if you're ordering lenses, you should have some intelligence built in. If you don't, you need to ask your lab why they don't have that. Okay. So there's a glaring error in this, what I'm ordering, and we'll see if anybody catches it or if the computer will catch it. Okay, so I'm going to calculate. Are you sure? Right. Okay, so if you can see this on my screen, oh, please correct the sphere powers. You can't see a pop-up. That's interesting. Okay, there's a pop-up that's occurring, but I don't think you can see it. All right, can you guys see the pop-up that occurred? It says, are you sure that you want right and left sphere to have different signs? No pop-up. Okay, well, it's not showing, but it should say, and this is going to hopefully calculate. All right, so this lens is calculating. We can see in real time. A lot of times, have you guys ever called the lab and it's like, how thick is the lens going to be, right? So you can see from this screen, we can actually get a really good prediction about thickness than calling the lab. So for a lot of opticians who are newer, new could mean 3 years in, they just want to know how thick is that lens going to be. Well, remember, I ordered this thick lens. It's a minus 350 with 1 sil. That's a 450 total power. You know, I have an add on it in plastic. So that's going to be a thick lens. We're looking at 5 millimeters on this temporal edge of this lens here. Now, let's change that to high index. And so these tech tools are 10 times better than what you can get from sharing it on an Opticam of here's what thick lenses look like. You know, you can physically show it to the patient if you wanted. So let me try to attempt to make this high index. Where was it? Oh, okay. Shoot, let's do 174. Let's pimp this lens out. Okay. It's going to calculate here. So remember, we're going from about a 5 millimeter edge thickness on the right. Hopefully my big ass pointer is working well for you. Okay. It says pre-calc is done. I don't know why it's not changing. What happened there? I don't know, but I'm not going to worry about it. We're going to continue. Okay, so I'm going to hit quote. Have you guys ever wondered when you order lenses, why don't you get an instant quote? Because sometimes you just don't know what a lens is going to cost. So this lens costs $95. This is how labs should have transparency of you know what it costs before you order it. And I think that's really important. And there's a lot of different lab ordering portals out there. So I just kind of want to bring that to your attention on every lab should be sharing what lenses cost before you order them. So there's absolutely no misinterpretation of why a bill comes in. I once had an optician, she ordered a VSP PL Expression, which is actually an IoT camber. They took it off the market though, the VSP lens. It was a phenomenal lens. The lens came in at $375 wholesale, and I about blew up. I was like, because she only charged the patient $500. She didn't know when she was ordering that was a $375 wholesale lens. If she knew it, we could have went back and got more money. But of course, we still fulfilled it for the patient. Okay, so we have some questions here. Okay, so we got some questions. The program is pretty slick. Is that for ordering through a certain lab? Yeah, there's a network of labs that are using this new software. It's actually a European software, and it's actually used in Asia. This software is the most advanced ordering software out there. And by advanced, I mean simplest. Simplest, the easiest tech tools to prevent the most mistakes. It shows chemistry placements. We can even show tint colors on it. It does like a bunch of things. What I love about it the most, I'll share it too. And I was upset. So you know how when we order contact lenses, we put everything in a cart? I like a cart because if you forget something, how many times do we forget to order transitions? And we're like, oh shit, we got to call the lab and it's already in production. And then it's a whole fiasco. The best part of this ordering portal, let's see, tab. And I'm going to tell you how you fit this into your workflow with newer opticians or people you don't trust in your office. Is you create this cart. So I'm going to add, did I add it to the cart already? I'm going to add the cart. So I'm going to hit this plus button. All right. So I have 2 orders. I did an order earlier to test it. I have Perry and I have Bugs Bunny. I have the price. It's $95. I can see an estimate when that order is going to come to me. So you have a good estimate. I don't know why it says $420. It's in a test environment. And then you can check on, you can reorder things. You can search things super easy. Other things you can do is I could go back in the shopping. So things like VisionWeb and DVI, the reason I don't like them is the order goes right into the lab. Or if you order it through the labs portal, it goes right to the lab and you have no way to freaking go back and edit things. So the shopping cart style is the best style of ordering because you have a history. And let's say you have an optician who's been working with you for 4 months. The best thing you can do is at the end of the day, say, hey, Susie Lou, let's go through your orders. I'm going to check everything, make sure you order the right lenses, simply go through their 5 orders for the day, make sure, there's no, if the bead measurement's 50 and they're ordering a 19 seg, those are glaring mistakes that will stand out to you super easy. So that we'll go through this in more detail later on, but that's kind of why I like the shopping cart style for ordering things. All right, I'm coming back to the screen so I can see you guys. The name of the program is called LensSync. LensSync. Spelled it wrong. LensSync. Actually, the founder of it's in the audience here. Craig is his name. Craig, I'm gonna tag you. Craig owns an optical called Itopian in Florida, as you guys say, Florida, and he has a real high-end shop, and he sells Lindbergh and Maybach and other nice product. And he knows all about the good labs and the bad labs, and he really went on this journey to develop a software to make it seamless. And something that Craig is actually working on that's very interesting is he's building an intelligence. Craig, that's a question for you, Wallman. I don't know. He's building an intelligence where an optician can just simply put in the progressive lens, your prescription frame measurements. It'll auto select the best progressive lens measurement for that patient. This is especially helpful with, if you're short staffed and you just want the computer to decide, because everything is an algorithm. The algorithm can decide what the patient wants by lifestyle. And I think the Hoya, was it lifestyle? I'm saying it. My style, you would fill out this questionnaire. They do knitting and they play bingo, and then they're a race car driver, and it would choose the best lens. We're able to do that. Smarter people in this group are able to choose lenses with their brain, but other people, it's just nice. Let the computer choose for you. Hey, what's up, Alexa? Alexa, who's also in Florida, Miami. Any more questions tonight? That is the show, our 3rd show. I hope did you guys get some value from this? I actually have a lot of fun teaching this. And any topics that you want to hear for next week, I literally did not prep this, doing these on the fly, because that's how I perform best. It was fun. Awesome. How do we rewatch? Tabitha, I will send out an email with the YouTube link. Herbert, thanks for being here. Thanks, Dad. Thanks for the support, everybody. And again, this is going to be every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Next week, what do I want to talk about next week? I don't even know. I just need to go through my repository in my brain. Catherine, okay. I'll answer your question privately, Catherine. I think that's good. Marketing, insurance would be helpful. Okay, I'm a marketing guy, so we can talk about insurance. Insurance. Minimum frame is pain. I don't know what that means. Harsh. Yeah, we can go over insurance, how to make money on insurance, because really I'll tell you the secret to making money on insurance. You guys ready? You ready? It's you have to sell expensive product that's not covered by insurance in full. So if you're selling a $150 frame and VSP is contributing $150, that's a key to making $6 on a frame. You can make no money that way. So you just have to figure out how to sell products that are not fully covered by insurance. That's the real key. And you have to choose top tier category lenses for progressives and top tier category ARs. That's how you make money on insurance. There's no secret. It's a volume game, and you're taking a 30 to 40% write off when you take insurance. And I'm not telling you to drop vision plans. I'm not like the biggest anagram fan as well. That has its downsides too. Okay. Let's see. Get reimbursed. More so like tiers and the best way to get reimbursed. Okay, we can get into some of that. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for attending the 3rd episode of Optical Obsessed Live. Please invite your friends. And something I do want to call out, if you go into your calendar, if you want this to be added to your calendar, you can go back to the email, hit add to calendar, and there'll be an option with an iCal or Gmail to select weekly, so you'll always get notified. I've tried to send, did you guys get a text today for the people that signed up for text? I hope that was helpful. I won't spam you, I promise. Okay. I think it's helpful for me too. Alrighty. Question for the audience. Do you guys think, staff, I don't know who's staff, who's doctor, who's management here. I have no clue. I really want to figure out how we can get staff to come on these shows. I know they're not going to be paid to come on. They got to do it from their heart. Do you think that's a possibility? Are you a staff member here doing this on your own time, investing in your career? Kevin, you rock, man. Thank you for inviting your crew. I really appreciate it. The only way you can opticians can earn higher wages is by becoming more educated and showing value. It's not a time thing. You could be an optician for a year and make more money than a 10-year veteran because you have a better skill set. Yeah, your staff is amazing. That's awesome. I hope they're listening here. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. I'll see you next week. And Catherine, I am going to message you privately about that. I think it's awesome.